Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you've had a very good Christmas and a happy new year. Now in this video you're probably aware that I recently moved house and unfortunately a couple of items have been damaged which I'm going to unbox in today's video. Now some of these items are quite old and they're pre-movie merch, but unfortunately they just haven't survived, whether it was in the move or quite simply just due to age. Like a lot of it is due to the glue. A lot of you will find that some of your glue on the older merch just disintegrates, which means the product becomes damaged. So I'm going to open a few bits and share what they actually look like. I normally, as you've probably seen from my collection, wouldn't open these kind of things, but unfortunately I've just got a couple of items that we can share. So I've got three various different items, all for different reasons. Two are glue, one was actually got crushed at the bottom of the bag. I'm going to unbox them and show them what they look like. Again, I don't recommend it. Try and keep your items packaged where you can. So the first item is the Lord Voldemort Tommy figure. I mean, I call it Tommy. I don't know if you call it Tommy in America, but for me, I've always called it Tommy. And the reason I'm opening this is that the glue simply has come away. You know, this was at the bottom of a box when I packaged it, but it had bubble wrap on, but quite simply the glue has disintegrated. It is actually packaged really, really well. You can see, like a lot of the older toys, there's loads of plastics. There's a double plastic wrapper on this one. So despite the outer box being a little bit worn, the figure actually is in perfect condition. You can see that it's also got an accessory of Nagini. Again, I picked this up I think in a charity shop or eBay. It wasn't something I had as a child. There are these fiddly little plastic ties which you don't see often in toys, I don't think, anymore, because they're trying to keep the plastic down. But Voldemort was quite difficult to come out, and then the Nagini was in two-part. Originally I thought this was broken. As you can see, I'm quite startled by it, but actually it's meant to be like that, so don't be alarmed if you do have this. Now when you look, you can see there's various different figures to collect. This is the only one really I've got of this range from the Tommy range. Again, please let me know if I'm saying it wrong, but I wanted to check that Nagini wasn't broken, and in fact she wasn't. She's absolutely okay, and she's meant to be like that. These plastic ties were really fiddly and just quite annoying to get out, but clearly they've done the job because this, like I said, the figure is in perfect condition. There's no scratches, there's no marks. I do think that because of the glue, this is the only reason this package came apart. Like I said earlier, it's bubble wrapped, but it's just the plastic that kept it safe. I only have this figure, so I can't compare to the others. It's not something now that I'm really into having in my collection. I don't actually think the Lord Voldemort toy is that pretty. Obviously, he's not a pretty character. And having this in the box, just not something that I would have kept in the collection, so I don't feel too bad opening it. Now, I was starting to look at the back to see if he does anything, and then I realised there's an extra part, which was his wand. Now, at first, again, I didn't know if this was meant to be attached, but it's not, so you do get an extra 3 parts. You've got Voldemort, his wand, and Nagini. The wand actually is really cool. Due to the wrist placement, it actually looks like he's using it in the movie. So there's 3 parts to it, and it was brilliant. All that's left to do is to get Nagini out of the box. Now, I'm actually petrified of snakes, so I just didn't quite enjoy this bit, and like I said, it's not something that I would want in my collection, A, because I'm in Gryffindor, and just the whole snake thing, I don't know if I would want that out my shelf, but the toy itself by Tommy, whatever we're calling it, is really, really good. Nagini's in perfect condition. Slots together really, really simple, and it would be a display item if you're in Slytherin. I also think, you know, if you've got a younger fan of the books and films, they're quite a crucial role, particularly towards the Deathly Hallows. They would be a really, really good toy. I wouldn't recommend a younger child playing with this because it's a little bit fiddly and you'd hate to lose the wand, but overall I would give this item a 8.5 out of 10 just because it's so durable and strong. Despite all the packaging, it has been well, you know, held its shape. There's no scratches, there's no marks, and you could keep it for a very, very long time. I'm also giving it an 8.5 because the packaging itself has loads of information. It's got all the different characters you can collect in this set. It's again not a personal collection that I had as a child or that I've seen lots of. And to be honest, like I said earlier, I can't really remember where I got it from. It most likely is to be a charity shop or eBay, but the information for a young person has got loads on what you can collect and what's in different sets. If you collected all of them, I imagine they would look brilliant. But to have Voldemort and Nagini just on their own, it's not something that I would have on my shelves. But if you can see, like, Hagrid looks really, really cool. He looks extra large, so that might be something that I would pick up in this collection. But again, 8.5, a real sturdy, really solid toy. Unfortunately, the glue just came away from the box. Moving on from our Voldemort figurine, let's move on to something completely different and something that I was a little bit gutted about that had broke. Moving on to item number 2. So item number 2 is something that I've had for a really long while, and actually you can see from the colour itself it's yellowed over time, but this is a fluffy action game, pre-movie merch. You can see it's got the brickwork design. Now it's got this big plastic covering on, but unfortunately Fluffy Spike has kind of broken it at the back. There's a little bit broken at the top as well, and just the discolouring, when I bought it in the shop I don't think it was this bad, but you can see Fluffy comes out right away. The glue has disintegrated, and overall the packaging just wasn't in great condition. On the opposite hand, the actual fluffy game itself is in perfect condition. You can see that in 2 of the heads you've got the controllers, and one of the main heads in the middle has the tiny screen. Now it's never come out the packaging before, it's quite simply sat on a shelf, but you've got various different buttons, so I don't actually know if it works. I'm going to try and get some batteries into it and make sure that we can give it a go. Now that it's out, this is something I probably will keep in my collection because I think it actually looks good. As opposed to Voldemort, I actually like the look of Fluffy, and essentially if the batteries work then the game works. It should be good to play with. You can see Fluffy's got bright red eyes and tiny little buttons underneath. Overall a really good piece. Now the third item is something that just did not survive the move at all. I originally got this in a charity shop for like £2, but unfortunately when I got this out the box when I moved into my new house, like half the pieces were left in the box, half the pieces were missing. Essentially the plastic bit at the front had kind of broken away, the glue had come off, so now the actual Hogwarts build itself was missing. I was left, however, now I didn't notice this at the time, but there is a Harry Potter figurine included, but there should be like 100 pieces of cardboard that you can build Hogwarts. They were everywhere over the cardboard box, so this item had to be opened. Now all the build your own Hogwarts bits fell out of the plastic container, but Harry himself was almost like glued in there tightly and would not move at all. You can see here that I had to get some scissors to get him out, which is completely opposite to the cardboard pieces. The cardboard pieces fell out in the move, although they were wrapped, so unfortunately we've got 2 different pieces. Like one end is glued really tight and then the other end did not last at all. But Harry was boxed in again in like the double plastic, so you can see that he's firmly in place. No scratches, no damage. He completely survived the move, and actually I really liked this figure. I thought it was quite funny. The detail was really good, and again a nice little piece that you can put on your shelf and he looks good. Harry will definitely be staying in the collection, but unfortunately the book and the Build Your Own Hogwarts will be going straight into the bin. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's the first one back that I've done in a while, just while I get settled into my new house, but you can see the products that we've unwrapped. The only product realistically that I'm just not a fan of is the Voldemort. He's just not for me, being a Gryffindor. I'm sure in someone else's collection he would look really good if you are into Slytherin or the dark arts, but Harry and Fluffy, the kind of game console, the mini game, will be staying. I think they look good, they work with my collection, and they're smaller items that you can dress around like larger books or just on a bookshelf. Now as I've moved in, you'll start to see more videos coming. My Harry Potter office kind of room is underway and the house build is taking place, so hopefully you'll have a lot more videos. As ever, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed.